Okay, everybody. All right. Sorry about that. I apologize. I just recreated a new hangout. So let me is that okay? Is that better, Umar? I guess microphones, it still just knocked everything out of whack. And I was not able to resume the thing. So I just had to trash the entire thank you. So I just had to trash the entire session. Now I just resent the link to Elmciti. I noticed she was in the hangout, and I'm going to send the link to Curious so she can help me moderate, because I figured out why those two knuckleheads were still able to get into my chat room and I wasn't able to get rid of them myself. It's because I think we're mutually blocking each other. So in other words, I think we had to be unblocked, or I have to be unblocked from them, or in order for me to effectively get rid of them. So I'm going to send Curious the link, or unless she's already able to come in. I think I already set her up as a moderator anyway, so she should be able to come in and help me out with that. Okay, so if okay, hey Elmciti. So I just sent you the link again. We'll see if in your email. So we'll see if that works for you. Thank you, Omar. So let me see here. As soon as I can get Elmciti in, we can actually start. And let me see here. The link seems to be working on its end.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing, Elm? How you doing?
I am good, and you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Um, Hold on here. I just want to make sure I'm muted. I'm muted. So I will. Yeah, I'll try to let her know. I'll try to let Jenny know that I'm on a new feed. I know she's at work, so she can't really listen, but she was there to support. That's good enough. Um, this is the first time I've had some technical difficulties. I had two things going on. So yeah, it looks like my old headset has died on me. So I might have to get a new one. That's usually the one I go live with. And then now I'm using the mic that I actually record with. So how have you been doing, Elmciti?
I'm doing all right, and you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really, really good. I had a very good holiday. I didn't do jack shit. But then again, it was like I had actually I shouldn't say that I didn't do shit, because I was doing nothing but running around and hanging out with people. And sometimes when you're just busy but not doing nothing like that, it's like the hardest way to explain it. But anyway, so now are you currently in school?
Say
Yeah.
that again. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Are you currently in school?
No, just working right now.
Okay, that's cool. I couldn't remember when you were on Chris's show if you actually said that if you actually said that you were that you were a that you were in school or not. I don't know why I thought that.
Mm.
Okay, so the thing I wanted to talk to you about, let's start with your channel. I love your channel when you put up videos. And the thing that I like the most is because I know I can't do it. How the hell do you talk, like you do real talk videos, you talk about politics and shit, and then you're able to play video games? Like how do you do that at the same time? I can't do it. I just can't. I have to well, first of all, I don't play that many video games. I'm gonna date myself if I tell you the video games that I usually play. But you know, I think the most modern game that I play is Dawn of War. I like Dawn of War, but I only play the first chant. I mean the first version of it.
Mhm.
But everything else was a bunch of the first person shooter or whatever you call them.
Mhm.
Uh, Marathon. That's just how old I am. Marathon was huge in the Mac world. Maybe in the PC world too. I can't remember. And I liked Damage Incorporated. That was based on the old Marathon engine.
Oh.
And then after that, yeah, that was back in the '90s. And then that was it. After that, I kind of stopped playing video games altogether. I just never really got into them unless you want to talk about when I was a kid. I was going to the damn arcade. That's how old I am. So, um,
Man.
you know,
Oh.
playing Defenders and Pac-Man and stuff. Yeah, Umar,
Oh.
that's
Oh.
exactly it.
Oh.
Nah. Yeah, I can't. So, but what do you like when you normally? Now I see you like you're conscious. I've seen a couple of your videos where you talk about the pro blacks and the differences between them and the beef that they might be having or whatever. You might talk about what's going on in the sector. How do you? I mean, I know a lot of other people do it, but typically when I see people doing broadcast their video games and they're usually talking about the damn game. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like a natural thing for you, right? Where you just drop science and play video games at the same time.
I mean, it becomes natural at the same time. First of all, shout out to you for playing God of War. That is my favorite game of all time. um, yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
have to keep doing it. When I first started doing it, it was kind of difficult. And then after a while,
Yeah.
it became really easy. I mean, I guess you don't overthink it, because you want to make sense and you want to get your point across, but it's really not that hard at all.
Right. Well, now the one of the things that I noticed is that you do when you came to like I wouldn't say political consciousness. When you came to Black consciousness, how old were you? Like what got you there?
Actually, the same year I came into like Black consciousness fully was when I was 18. The same year I made my Elmciti channel, and
Okay.
um, I was like going to YouTube and seeing conscious videos and getting the books that a lot of people were referencing in their videos and things like that. So that pretty much YouTube, pretty much.
Okay. Okay. So it wasn't like necessarily off the streets or in the community kind of thing. It was through It was through YouTube. All right.
90%.
So
Yeah.
hold on just for some 1 second. All right, okay. So now are you who didn't know what you did on YouTube? Like it was a family member, right?
Hmm.
And they came up to you and they said, "What is the sector? People keep talking about the sector, Elm City. Tell me what how would you describe how would you describe the sector to them if they
The
absolutely
sewage.
did not know what the hell you were talking about?"
This I would call it the sewage and tell them to never go there.
Yeah, yeah. And why that's good. And and why would that be? Why what is tell us about the sewage.
And the sewage doesn't mean just the not just the roast arena. I think all of Black YouTube primarily is sewage water because
Mhm. Mhm.
it has been like downgraded. It has been uh polluted with trash. Everyone competing with each other. I mean, yeah, everyone competing against each other. Really, it has become childish. A lot of people are frauds. A lot of people are scammers. A lot of people like to cause controversy. Um, I mean, it's just a whole cesspool of disappointment, and
Right.
that's pretty much it. I mean, I used to think really highly of the black sector, but these recent years had me thinking otherwise.
Now, it's funny. I was had this conversation with Vuk a while back, where we were talking about how we came to the sector in different ways or whatever. Because when I was on YouTube, when I first got on YouTube, we're talking about around 2006,
Ooh.
and there was a lot of that. You definitely saw some hotel, like, or rather, the black consciousness people. They were on there, but really, it was like a lot of people just getting on, telling personal stories. It was basically the thing that I like about YouTube is that it was sort of like cable access. It was just, people getting on and doing their own thing, which I'm kind of used to that environment because when I was on radio years ago, again, back in the 90s, I was on a listener sponsor radio station. So, people paid money, like donations to keep the station
Mm.
going. And of course, as a programmer, you didn't get paid. You were considered a volunteer. But if you were able to get a spot, you were able to get a spot. Um, where I live in New York, the last of those stations still exists, called WBAI. So it was a station like that. So people kind of said their own thing, and they had their own programs, and they said their own thing. And what I liked about YouTube and of course the internet is a big democratizer. So it just kind of, you don't have to do things like go to broadcasting school or try to get a license and all this crap to get on radio or get on television. You can just do whatever you want. Some networks on YouTube are very well done and very well put together, and others not so great. Oh wow, Umar, you're in New York. I didn't know that. You say that WBAI used to be so good. I agree with you. I really don't listen to it all that much. I haven't really listened to it in almost 11 years. But going back to Elm City now, so in other words, that you see it as what you just said, it's sewage water. I think that it could be better. It could be made better. It's just how many people don't really want to be associated with it who are really good people and who do good stuff. Because I like your content. I like that if you keep doing your content and if you keep doing it, like, I know that you have an audience. I know there are people who like you who go to your channel. Uh, hell, I know you get more views than I do. So, I mean, I just think that I think the more people kind of do what they want to do and stick to their own uniqueness, the better. We could make it, I think,
I mean,
you know.
sure. I mean, I don't mind like content. People that there's no right or wrong way to do a video about anything, and it's fine. But it's just when it becomes, a way for people to attack you. These are grown people who are like 2, 3 times my age and can't respectfully disagree with one another. But they're always talking about unifying, and it's
Right,
like, well, that's kind of a contradiction. What are you unifying for? Who would we be unifying with? Because not every black person is worth um to be unified with. And then after that, what the fuck are we supposed to do? You know? So
right, right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think highly of those people at all.
I It's funny to me that some of them talk about unification, but I've noticed that when they do call for unification, it's usually out of when one of them are in trouble, or if they're in danger of losing a channel. Like they done had a lot of flags, and so now they're about to go down, and suddenly they start playing victim. Oh, I'm going to lose my channel. Oh, why can't we be unified? Why is everybody against me? Like you do see that a lot. It's funny to me when people talk about that. That's interesting that you brought that up. So, I wanted to give Umar Sori's link to your channel. He was asking for it, so I just gave it to him. Um, so what I want to know is, uh, I wanted to go on into the genre stuff because, unfortunately, because of my own technical difficulties, I've cut down about 20 minutes of our time. And unfortunately, I am going to have to leave at 11:30. But so now again, your exposure on Chris's show, and I don't think I said this, but I have no problem. People who I don't agree with have no problem when they do something very well. His interview with you was really, really good. It was very surprising in terms of talk about and what you guys talked about. But you guys talked a lot about comic books, and you talked a lot about movies and stuff like that. Now, from what I remember, were you a Marvel fan or a DC fan,
Marvel.
or both? Yeah. See, I'm a Marvel person. I was a Marvel person since I was 8 years old. I just couldn't get with DC. DC was just a little too, I don't want to say basic, but they just, again, it's one thing that turns me off is binary thinking, like light, dark, good, evil. And DC always seemed to go that route. Like they just did not have complex characters enough for me.
Same thing with me. There was nothing to their characters. They were so plain and tasteless. It was just pathetic.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why Batman stayed so popular or got popular was after the Dark Knight, was because they finally gave him some kind of depth. Because before then, I all I remember from him was that besides him looking dark and brooding or whatever, there really was nothing more to his story other than we knew that his parents were killed. But there was really not that much to him. Like Superman, please, like none of these people had any real interesting backstory that made their damn characters interesting to me. And meanwhile, I mean, Marvel had like one of the most powerful heroes died of cancer. Like, like that's what I liked about Marvel, man. They just, you know,
Yeah, they're characters. You can engage with them more. There's more to them. Their backstory, their personality, they can grab an audience. You know,
right.
that's why I like Marvel.
Now, what do you think about some of the changes that Marvel is doing with, like, we're seeing, we're seeing like some women, young women of color, taking over some of the characters. Like now, the new Captain Marvel is a young Muslim woman. She's wearing a hijab. You've got, um, like, how? What do you think about all that?
Mm, I think it's somewhat cool. Well, not somewhat cool. I think it is kind of cool. Black people are starting to become more popular with comics and like bringing those comics um, to life in the big screen. Um, on the big screen.
Mm,
I actually kind of like it. The
yeah.
idea. I don't know how crappy the movie or anything else is gonna be.
And
Hopefully
that
good.
is important. Yeah.
But
And that is important. I'm not going to go full whole hog on making major changes. Like, okay, so you gave us, you gave us a black Captain America, you gave, or something like that. But, is it going to be a good story? Is he going to be different? Is he going to be, like, how good is the writing going to be? I don't want like these superficial changes if they're just going to be changes just for marketing. Um, So I'm glad that you like that. I know that, look, we've been watching people of color and women and everybody. Man, we've been reading comic books from the get go. It's not like something that we've just discovered 10 or 15 years ago. I mean, again, when my mother was reading comic books before I was born. When she was a teenager, she may not have been reading the superhero stuff. She was into Archie and Archie comic book stuff.
mm,
But when I turned 7, she was like, I think you're gonna like Spider-Man and all of these guys, and so she was the one who actually introduced comic books to me. Uh, and so I thought that was really good. And some of the ideas that they have coming out, I think, are good ones, and then others I'm not too excited about because they're just sort of characters where it made no sense. Like, I can understand a new Captain Marvel being a young Muslim girl because Captain Marvel, there have been different Captain Marvels before anyway. Once he died, you still had Miss Marvel, and that made sense because she was given the power cosmic. Had the replacement Miss Captain Marvel, who was a black woman. Again, so I can see if it's part of a continuity or if you kill off a character and then you replace them with someone who happens to be more contemporary. Some of the stuff, like, again, I say, if it's too much of a more like a marketing ploy, I'm not down with it. If it makes sense, I'm definitely down with it. I wouldn't mind seeing more original superheroes of color. That I have no problem with. What do you think about that?
yeah, I mean, as long as the story is good, I can't really hate on it. But I can't jump the gun just because they gave us a black person. Um, that's what I really do enjoy or try to um enjoy the stories. The plot, uh, the the personality of the character. Those are what really do matter. But of course, um, I am for having black superheroes at the same time. So it like I said, it all depends on how it goes.
Yeah, and that's I think the most objective way of looking at it, because again, you want quality, you just don't want superficial change, and I'm down with that. I have no problem with that at all. In terms of the upcoming movies, we've had two major sci-fi franchises that had, besides the gender thing. I just want to hear, so you don't have to just stick to gender. My question to you is What did you think, honestly, of the Rogue One movie if you saw it? And what did you think, and what do you think of the new Star Wars reboot?
I haven't seen uh Rogue One.
Oh, okay.
And the Star Wars, you mean the one that just dropped last year?
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen all of it. I've seen some, but I haven't finished watching it.
Okay. What do you think about? Well, do you look at most sci-fi, or do you like sci-fi at all? Or
I do, but sci-fi they make it look too fake a lot of the times. So it usually
Mhm.
just turns me off.
I got you. Are you more like into well, do you like fantasy, or do you just like, or maybe you just like your sci-fi to be more like dystopian, like post-apocalyptic, or you know, or is
Anything
it just really
that
you?
anything that is good. I like both, but make it good. It
Make
don't
it good. I
overuse
got you.
CGI.
I think I have to agree with you on that. If it gets too out of control, man, I just can't deal with it. I think um I used to disagree with Quentin Tarantino about what he said about The Matrix 2. He thought that it was way too much CGI. He felt like he was looking at a video game. I disagreed with them at the time because at the time I hated Quentin Tarantino. Now, I do have to agree. Every time I look at the last two Matrix films to this day, it's like they just went way too out of control with it. Like as much as the Burly Brawl was fun to watch, I realized that I only like to watch that scene. I think that that scene was only good to watch once at the movie theaters. The more you look at it, the more you get critical, and you start looking at, wow, this really does look like a goddamn video game. It just didn't look. It just didn't look good. Umar Sori says, "I hate Tarantino."
He's a fucking uh
Huh?
he's a turd. I don't like Tarantino either.
Yeah.
His
Why do you?
it's he's a freaking weirdo and not a weirdo in a good way.
Right, right. He my problem with him, and I already mentioned that. Really, we don't need to hear me run my mouth all that much tonight. But my problem with him was mainly back in the '90s when he came out with Jackie Brown, and he's just throwing, nigger all over the place, the word, and thinking he was trying to be really cool and down. That pissed me off. I was so annoyed with him during that period, and then stayed that way. I was like, "Fuck this guy! I'm never gonna look at another movie he is." And then over time, I guess I just got kind of tired of hating on the guy, and I went on ahead and looked at Kill Bill, and we're talking about a good 4 years after the movie came out. That's how much I hated him. But then I was like, okay, this movie's not that bad. It's really, 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 really good. But I couldn't stand anything else he had done. Between that, I now see Omar's story says he Pulp Fiction. He says, I'm tired of racists being defended by friggin' black people. I agree with you on that one, Umar. Um,
Mhm.
I think the only reason why he's been trying to, I don't know what he's doing, man. I don't know if it's guilt between him showing up at anti-police brutality rallies and and Django. I don't know if he's trying to work out the guilt from the '90s. I don't know. But yeah, the racism. I think Umar is referring to the sodomy scene in Pulp Fiction. That had really really fucked me up. Yeah, I actually saw the racism there too.
Yeah, Tarantino is a fucking he's disgusting to me. I don't really fuck with his movies. I did see
Yeah,
Django and it was you know, like why the fuck would you make a movie like that? Um what's the point? I really didn't like the story. Um it was Meaningless, actually. The only his only
Really?
work that I did like watching was the Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Other than that,
Yeah.
I didn't like his work at all.
Yeah. I still haven't had a chance to see Django because I know that I already have a problem wanting to look at what I like to call slave porn, where all these other like slave movies that are out, and they have to take you to all of this grit and dirt and gore. I don't have a problem with gore. I don't have a problem with violence, but really, I don't think I really need to see it in that way all the time. And I just knew that Tarantino, being Tarantino, was going to take it to that steroid level. So that's the reason why I never bothered watching it. I've got really close friends who like his movies, and they're conscious people. Like they're not blind or they haven't forgotten. Again, his overuse of the N word and the way he thought he was being cool, being that way and stuff. But they'll just erase that part and they'll just sit and they'll enjoy his movies and take it for what the movies are. I kind of see where they're coming from on that, but me, I can't. I just there's only certain movies of his that I like, and then I'll stick to that. But I did like Kill Bill a great deal, and I did like the. Oh man, that's right. I like the Crazy Eight. I think I liked Crazy Eight. It was good. It reminded me of just the old gritty cowboy movies that were from Italy and shit from back in the day.
Mhm.
Um, but of course, in the usual steroidal level of violence that Tarantino will go to. But I liked it. So going back to what movies are you looking forward to this coming up year in spring?
Not really any. Wait, is the Black Panther movie coming out this year or next year?
I think it's gonna be next year. I'm so we
Then
my
never
daughter
mind.
my yeah my daughter and I were talking about that just the other day, like how we were really really excited. But I don't think it's coming out until 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
not
other
that
than that, I really can't say.
I I know that I know that you what comic books are you totally into at this time? Like what are you reading?
Not reading right now, but I used to read the Walking Dead
Hmm.
comics. Those were pretty good. Um,
Now, right now you say used to. What happened?
I don't know. I
You
just
got
stopped
bored.
for some reason.
You now this is what I think is what I'm starting to think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
I would say that when you are, and you sound a lot like me in that you don't like you don't like when shit starts to get lame or repetitive. Is that it?
Yeah,
Yeah. And you don't, and you like to be challenged. You like your shit to like, you want stuff to be a little bit more, I don't know, in depth. You want stuff to be, you don't want shit to be boring. This is what it sounds like to me.
yeah.
Yeah. Because even the TV show itself, Walking Dead, is getting, I mean, even my daughter stopped watching it. She was like, it's just getting, I mean, it's just getting repetitive. And so I can only imagine that if the TV show is getting repetitive, the comic book must be getting repetitive. And
Somewhat, not entirely, but somewhat. But I have no idea why I stopped reading it. It's not. I wasn't getting bored with it. I have no idea. But that's how I am. I'll stop reading it for a while, then get back into it at some point. But yeah, I definitely agree. I don't like things that's repetitive or predictable.
Yeah. Um, as you know, and I'm gonna go back. Sorry if I'm flipping back, but it's not necessarily I'm flipping back to the sector. But I know that I know that you've made definite strong statements about. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm paraphrasing you, but I think you've made some very strong statements about like, uh, black male misogyny and patriarchy. And and I noticed that today, some of these guys are now beefing with each other. It seems that uh, our favorite guy, Obsidian, um, and um, and O'Shea Duke Jackson,
Mm,
uh, like a straight out beef with these guys. Apparently, and just to give background to our listeners and everybody in the chat room, um, so O'Shea Duke Jackson and Obsidian, they're pretty much part of the Black Women Ain't Shit industry on YouTube, where literally, if all you have to do is attack Black women, make sweeping, broad generalizations, zero social scientific comments, and a bunch of and just a bunch of just nonsense about Black women, you will become an overnight success. You may not you may not have 10,000 subscribers, but you most certainly will get more than 250, which is, and so and so what's going on is O'Shea is basically of that realm, along with Obsidian. Now, what's going on is that O'Shea has, uh, his platform is based on a couple of things. He's got a website, he's got a Facebook page, fan page. He's got, in other words, all the stuff that Tommy Sotomayor has already done.
mm-hmm.
They're all like, I guess they suddenly woke up overnight and discovered, oh, this is what you have to do. Me personally, I suspect that they, like all of them, they pad their audience by buying subscriptions and buying comments and things like that. But for the most part, that's how they start off, and they followed Tommy's formula, and now now it seems that they're beefing because apparently, because Obsidian's been around a little longer, obviously. You'll see his shitty little articles here on A Voice for Men, which is Paul Elam's website, which is just the general He-Man Women's Hater Club, but mainly for white guys. You will find Obsidian's writings here and there. And apparently, according to O'Shea, well, Obsidian's been putting those articles up for free. He's been writing for free for Paul Elam, which I know is true because Paul Elam stopped, giving money out or paying people anything for quite some time now, and he went to this big reversal. I need to actually post the link to this. I need to post a link to an article that deals with his, with his little empire of women hating. But the point here is that when not Obsidian, but when O'Shea said, "Hey, I want you to write articles for me for my site," Obsidian said, "Sure, $100 an article," and O'Shea was like, "Hell no." And so from there, the beef began. So they just been doing this back and forth kind of thing. And now Shay, I think he just straight up wrote a article simply titled short niggas of attacking short dudes, which is bullshit because I don't attack people because they were simply born short. I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. But you know that O'Shea just wanted to just diss Obsidian. And Obsidian in turn is saying how, because of that, he doesn't like O'Shea anymore. And So they're just basically having this little cat fight. Because when you think about it, these dudes say the same shit. They're about the same shit. I think the only thing I might say is I saw a video of O'Shea's, and I never look at O'Shea's videos like ever. But because of Obsidian being such a loudmouth and he can let everybody know about all the little drama that he has, because it'll get him some traffic to his stupid ass channel, he he because he loves drama, like Tommy, he loves drama, get some traffic. When he when I went to O'Shea's channel to see what the hell was going on, and then O'Shea mentioned in his rant against Obsidian that he wanted to stop just talking about black women wasn't shit, and that he wanted to talk about things like travel and just doing other things, which is interesting because years ago I had even said, and not years ago, months ago I said on another video of mine that if I ever decide by some weird fate I wasn't married anymore and suddenly I was a man going my own way, blah 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 blah, that the last thing you guys ever would hear from me is women wasn't shit. That'd be the last thing that all I would do was talk about hobbies or fucking pottery making, some bullshit like anything but women ain't shit, women ain't shit, women ain't shit, like, which is not what I think anyway, but you get my point. At some point there has to be an end game to what these guys are about, and I think that O'Shea was kind of saying that, which in a lot of ways I kind of wish he kind of does go that direction, because that may actually beat a lot of be a huge departure and may create a huge split amongst these guys, because they all share the same goddamn audience. It's the same 100 dudes going to each channel, and each channel is saying the same goddamn thing, and they're all basically sitting there swallowing all this misogynistic nonsense. So I just want to look at Vegan Anarchist says Black Anarchist versus Obsidian. Is he talking about me? I don't know. And the whole crowd is a circle jerk of human monsters, says Umar Soris. And he says, when you get no sex, you can't find a date. Women are suddenly the worst. when you're an undercover homosexual, women are no good. Which I'm pretty sure he's not saying that to degrade gay people, but I know his point that he's saying. If you're gay but you're closeted and scared to be uncloseted, obviously you hate all women. I think a lot of them are suffering from that. And I think a lot of them are suffering from exactly what Umar just said, that they can't find a date, they can't get laid, and they think that all women are the worst. Well, what do you think about the whole influx of these guys? Like, I know you don't like them, but my point is do you think that they're just ultimately going to implode? Do you think that they're just a lot of this? Like, what do you think?
That type of mentality needs to fucking die. And that it won't ever happen because they have a mass following to the point where they that's basically all where their views go. And so the moment they stop talking about women like they ain't shit is the moment they barely get any views or any traffic going to their channel. So yeah, no, they're not gonna stop doing that anytime soon. And on top of the fact they look up to a shit stain, a Soto Sambo, aka Tommy Soto Minstrel. So no, that probably won't ever stop.
I want to give a shout out to Bewildered Ape. He says they'll keep doing the same shit over and over. They're in a Lacanian loop that they can't escape. Wow, Lacanian. That's excellent reference. So that's a good point that you're making, Elmciti. That so in other words, you're saying that O'Shea can talk all he wants about going in a different direction, but it ain't gonna work. So you pretty much believe that he might actually be committing a form of suicide if he goes that route.
Oh yeah, him and a whole lot of other people.
Yeah. Well, it's so far his alliance or his group is made up of him, Angry Man, and the perv. Uh, what's that fucking shit's name? The one who believes that you should marry 16-year-old girls.
Ugh.
Something TV. Oh shit, I'm forgetting his name. I made a video about him, and now I'm forgetting his name. He's got dreadlocks. He literally does all his videos in a basement. I'm like, dude, I know you live in that basement, and then has the nerve to say another day in the office every time he starts his videos. Anyway, I can't think of. Oh, Ringo TV Raw. That's him. Him, Ringo TV Raw, and Angry Man are going to be the commission, if you will, that's supposed to be mobbed up and going to go in this new direction. I doubt that they will do that. Now that you've said that, I was actually thinking that might be true, but the more that you just said what you said, it makes too much goddamn sense.
Mm.
Makes too much sense. So I'm really glad that we were talking about all this. I'm glad I was finally able to get you on. I think that what we want to do is get you back on and join in with me and Curious and anybody else really on the Food for Thought channel so we can just all talk as a group and just talk about whatever. Do like People's Mic or some shit soon because I really, really liked our conversation tonight. We've got another 19 minutes or so. I know I'm counting it down to the minute, but unfortunately, at this time of night, I really gotta do several things, and then I got to get up in the morning. But for the gym and shit like that. So when what you so now what I want to ask is about some larger stuff. Now I don't know if is it public knowledge about where you live exactly or no? Like what city?
What do you mean public knowledge?
Like I mean, before I say, because I thought you were in Chi-Town, right or no?
No.
Then never mind. Never mind. My question was going to be about what you thought about. Well, you know what? Let's just put it to this. I don't know why I thought you were from Chi-Town. Never mind. Um, you know that we got now a complete fascist about to take over the White House.
Uh,
How bad do you think it'll get, or do you think it'll get bad at all?
I absolutely have no idea. I
Mhm.
guess it would only get bad or terrible if he actually gets his way of what he said
Right.
he was going to do.
Do your elder? Well, go ahead.
But other than that, it'll probably stay just about the same. Maybe get a little worse, being as
Yeah.
he is a full-blown white supremacist.
Mhm.
At least that's what I think. Um, but yeah, if he can get his way of what he said he was going to do, then oh hell yeah, it would be terrible.
Do you now? What are your the elders or older people in your life right now? Have they mentioned anything or made any comparisons to him and Ronald Reagan, or do like them saying, "I just think it's going to be like the Reagan era again"? Do they? Do you hear them saying that?
No.
No. The only reason why I'm asking that is because a lot of the like some of my older neighbors, people that we talk to and stuff, they all like they're all saying that so far. And it's funny because when you talk about the Reagan era, depending on who you're talking to, when you talk to people of color, they'll tell you how fucked up it was for us when Reagan was in office.
Mm.
You're talking about the crack. You're talking about the crack era. You're talking about um, the crack era. I mean, and then when you've got and so but when you've got other people during that time period, they either say how financially how things were great for them, but it depends on who they were and how much money they were making, and if they were playing the stock market because Reagan removed so many different restrictions, and he got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act. Sorry, I have a really bad cold, y'all. I'm actually going to try to make 2 videos in one day tomorrow. They won't be posted in one day, but I'm actually going to try to make 2 videos before my voice goes. Sorry. Anyway, so so what other like interests, like what other things do you do?
I like to paint. Let's see.
The icon that you use, is that a painting of yours?
Oh no, this is from Chocolate City Comics on Facebook. No, I can't hardly paint this good. But yeah, I like to paint. I like to write poetry, even though I haven't written any lately. I like to work out. I like to travel if I can. I like to read certain
Right.
things. Um,
Where can we are your paintings posted anywhere on the internet?
on my Facebook page.
And is that public for us, or is that just like your private page?
You would have to send me a friend request to see it.
All right, cool. So I'll do that, but I just, all my friends, I've got a lot of friends who are artists and stuff. So I think that's cool to know, um, to know about people that I come across here on YouTube, and you're one of them. And it's good to know that, you have those kinds of interests, that you have that side. So I'm glad to hear that. When you are you self-taught painter or
Um,
damn.
like I'm in this group called Black Artists. And I get tips and stuff on Facebook from them. And I also watch certain YouTube videos to learn how to blend and do other certain things. But for the
Right.
most part, it's just myself, trial and error, and things like that.
That's cool. I'm trying to figure out what other kind of hobby I can find besides the YouTube channel is definitely a hobby, but I wouldn't mind doing something else. I'm taking my kids all the time to the art supply store by our house because they've got things. My daughter likes to do model building, and my older one is more like a crafts person. She likes to knit and knit and things like that. So when I go in there, I'm always kind of looking over there at the woodwork, or I'm looking at painting and stuff like that. I've tried my hand at painting, but I'm more like I can't do like actual structural stuff. I like to. That's pretty much like I just like to blend colors and shit like that. But then I just get bored with it because I'm just not a good painter. But I need to figure out another kind of hobby. Definitely. So when you was it one last thing I wanted to ask you? It was about well, now I forgot it already. It was like a quick question. But so you're going to do have you thought about doing a channel kind of like what we're doing right now? Like you just go interview or just uh hangouts and stuff like that? Or maybe I
I
missed
thought
them.
about doing hangouts, but I don't know. I've been lazy with that. And as far as interviewing people, not really. Well, maybe like if I go to one of the like VidCon or anime convention or video game convention, interview like the developers, like video game developers or something like that. But
Right.
other than that, no,
You.
not really.
Oh, now I remember what I wanted to ask you. You mentioned Chocolate City Comics. Is that an independent comic company?
Not from what I understand. It just helps promotes other comic artists, other black comic artists, and keep people in the loop as far as black cartoonists and animation developers.
And that's a Facebook group?
It's a page.
Oh,
The
right.
Facebook
Well,
group is
that's
Black.
what I mean. It's a Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I need to. I haven't gotten around to making a Garage Autonomist Facebook account. I will, and then I'll do that and join the group. So okay, cool. Well, I want to thank you for coming. This was really cool. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and most of what and I wasn't disappointed. Like I mean, not disappointed, but I wasn't like surprised or disappointed. I knew exactly that we would have a good conversation. That you would have a good insight to a lot of these things. 'Cause normally, we don't think of a lot of black women who are into comic books, playing video games. Like we know they do, we know they exist, but I wanted to really talk to you about that. So I thought this was good. So I really want to thank you for coming by tonight, and I hope that everybody else in the chat room enjoyed the convo. Umar Stories most certainly did. Umar, I think I'm going to have you on if you with talking publicly. I could see that we could talk about a shitload of shit. I'm pretty sure there's things that we probably won't agree on. There's a lot of things we will agree on. So, we've had some pretty lively discussions in my comment section. So I'm gonna contact you. I already know. I just saw that you just followed me on Twitter. Anyway, but Elmciti, thank you so much for talking to us tonight. Was this conversation good for you? Like, what did you think?
Well, it was pretty good. It was pretty chilled. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. I hope you join in with us at Food for Thought. This week, I haven't spoken to Curious in 2 weeks. She probably thinks that I disappeared, but we haven't planned anything on Food for Thought for this week or next month. We may not do a hangout this week. It all depends on how I feel by the end by the end of tomorrow. But I'm gonna send her an email later tonight and see if she's game to do a hangout this week, or we'll just do next week. Because I definitely, what I want to do is do the autonomous dialogues on Tuesday, have a little Wednesday of a rest day, and then Thursday do food for thought. So we'll probably resume that, I would say, next week. But thank you so much, Elm City, for coming by tonight.
Thank you for having me, and you have a good night.
All right, you too. Thank you, Elm City.